I'm too small for this. But can you still hear me like this? Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. Cool. There are quite some women here. Who of you have traveled by themselves yet? Okay, that's that's okay. It's cool. So you are not alone, because apparently 60% of females have already traveled solo, which was a surprise for me because when Jenny asked me if I want to talk at this event today, I was a bit overwhelmed because I didn't know what to talk about. And at this moment I was at a friend's house and I was talking to my friends, so yeah, what should I talk about? I have no cool fancy travels lately, so do you have an idea? And they were all like, well, you travel mostly by yourself, so let's talk about this. And I was just like, yeah, but everyone travels by themselves. And my friends told me they don't. And then I did some research and, well, it's not that common. Well, 60% seems quite a lot, but it's not as much as you think in current times. So the question was like, why do females not travel that much by themselves? It's mostly fear. So they're mostly scared. But about what? It's like, it's not safe. Everyone tells you when you go by yourself, it's not safe, you have to be scared. So on every trip I did, at least one person told me, like, you sure it's safe where you go? It's like, even on my last trip, they told me, you sure you want to go there by yourself? And it's one of the safest cities I've ever been. They were just being like, I don't know how to get around. It's like, so complicated, you've been by yourself, I don't have the orientation, I don't know how to figure out my way, stuff like that. And another thing is, some people say they don't speak another language than, for example, German. Well, we don't, like, okay, it's Austria and Switzerland, but there are people who don't speak English, which is no shame, but that makes some countries quite difficult. As you said, in Bolivia, English wasn't helpful, so you have that problem in quite a lot of countries. And well, there are a lot of other reasons why people haven't traveled yet. No time, no chance to whatsoever. But then there was a question for me I always get, where to go for your first solo trip as a female. And it's Dublin. I definitely would recommend Dublin. So I did quite a lot of solo trips. My first one was in Dublin, and I just recently discovered Dublin for myself, and I was just saying for myself that should have been my first trip. I was in Toulouse, lovely city, but not good for the first trip. So why Dublin? Have any one of you been in Dublin yet? 2? 3? So you might know why. So it's a European country. For us it's easy to go there. We have no travel restrictions and people are not as unnecessarily complicated to let us in. It's English speaking, so it's easy to get around. Okay, there's the Irish accent, but if you ask the Irish people to speak slowly, they are nice and helpful. It's a safe city, so the crime rate is quite moderate or even low. And there's barely catcalling. That's something Dublin is really proud of. So that the sexual crime rate is quite low. And it has a moderate size. So if you, for example, if you would go to New York, you would be overwhelmed by the big size and all the streets, all the impressions of the city. Well, Dublin is a nice size to discover. And the mentality of the people. So the Irish people are one of the nicest people I've ever met. It's like I arrived at the Dublin airport, was a bit lost because it's a big airport, no signs really. And 10 people came to me and asked me if I need help to get to the city center. Have you ever experienced something like that in Germany or in any other country? So, yeah, Dublin. What you can see here is one of the faces of Dublin. You can do so many things in Dublin. For example, you should check out all the monuments and the museums. There is so much history there and so many different monuments to check out. The history of Ireland begins way back. So the Celtics, and then you have the British Empire, then the Irish Revolution. Even nowadays, the Troubles are still a part of the Irish history, and on every corner you find something to figure out, to discover, to learn about Irish history. And you just ask the people, they will tell you about the history. Like, even if you don't want it, but they will still tell you. Then Ireland is called a green island. Well, you see, that was just around the corner of my hotel. They have more than 20 parks in the city center. It's more than every other capital has. You have 2 different rivers through the city, and you have so much space to just relax and enjoy yourself. When you have, like, the traveling by yourself is too much. You just need some time to rest sometimes, and you just can go into nature and enjoy that. And, well, dive into Dublin's own history. So this might look a bit weird, but Ireland, and especially Dublin, is really proud of that people. So if you ask someone who is their biggest hero in life in Dublin, they would say O'Connell. That was the biggest revolutionary person in Ireland. Yeah, they have a big cemetery outside of the Dublin city centre. And yeah, the graves have everywhere flowers of the revolutionaries. Here you can see it's called the Famine Monument. I don't know if you know about the Great Famine in Ireland. So British Empire shut down the food supply for Ireland, and they somehow starved to death there because it's an island and you don't get really much food grown there. Yes, just walk around and figure it out, and people will tell you anyways. So I was standing there at the Great Famine Monument, and 8 men told me the story, how they got told it from their grandmothers and grandfathers. And it's really cool. So the mentality is like, they love tourists, but they don't have that many there, so they give you all the knowledge they have. And then enjoy Irish craft. That's definitely something you should do when you're in Dublin. Guinness, I think everyone knows. The Guinness storehouse is in Dublin. It's not a brewery itself, it's just a storehouse. It's something like a big museum. You just can go in and discover the history of Guinness and the craft of brewing Guinness. And at the end, you get 1 Guinness for free. So you can try, yeah, you try it out and see if you like the taste, because it's different. It's also different than here in Berlin. I think a lot of people already tried Guinness. Yes? Yeah. But here in Germany, it's totally different. It's not comparable. It's the water. So they have only Irish water. It comes from a different pipe. It has a weird Irish name, and so it tastes totally different. It's more like something to eat than a beer. But Dublin also has quite some distilleries. Irish whiskey, I think that's something quite known for craft in Ireland. And one of the biggest one is the Jameson distillery. It's called the Old Jameson Distillery because the new one is now in Cork. But you can still do a tour, and as you can see, you can get a tasting. And don't do it in the morning. I did it, was not my greatest idea. So you try the different types of whiskey. So you have an American, a Jameson, and a Scottish. And even if you like the other ones, don't tell them. Don't tell them, they're just really proud of their craft. Yeah, so if you are also in another bar, just ask them what is their favorite beer, and they will tell you. And that's also a thing you should do as a female. Go to a bar, sit on the bar and ask them about their favorite beer. You will have entertainment for the whole night without any weird situations. Then you should enjoy the food, of course. That's also something I was really surprised. In Dublin, they're used to people who eat by themselves. In Germany, for example, they always will, when you go into a restaurant by yourself, you sit down, they will always ask you, when are your friends coming, or are you sure you want to eat alone, or is there someone else coming? In Dublin, it's just normal. They just give you one menu, and even if your friend is coming, they'll just be like, oh, I didn't know, I assumed you by yourself. So that's nothing you should be scared of. No one is looking weirdly at you. They even give you books if you look bored. Yeah, so classic food in Ireland or in Dublin is fish and chips. You find it in every pub. You don't need a specific place to go. Just go to a pub, but no fancy food chain or something. Just go to a pub, and you definitely should go to Murphy's. Why is Murphy's so important? It's an ice cream parlor. They make the ice cream by themselves with only Irish ingredients. They have really fancy flavors. I had their Dingle sea salt. So the sea salt is from Dingle, that's an area in Ireland. And Irish brown bread. Apparently something totally normal there, that they make ice cream out of bread. It's really delicious. It's weird, but it's delicious. Then something, a lot of women are scared walking around alone at night. No problem in Dublin. You definitely should do it because it's so much more beautiful at night. It's beautiful by day, but at night, all those lights and people are like having the best time of their lives. It's just so nice, and you don't have to be scared. It's like no one is coming at you and will freak you out. But one thing, going out, this is Temple Bar, do not go to Temple Bar. There are no Irish or barely Irish people, and no one from Dublin goes out at Temple Bar. There's a small area close to the Molly statue. Well, you just ask around where the Molly is and everyone tells you it's just a big statue. And around there are the most amazing bars ever. If you know movies about Irish pubs, exactly like this, without the hitting and stuff, but exactly like this. A lot of fun there, and the prices, yeah, quite high, but Ireland is quite expensive. So for 1 Guinness you pay around like €6, which might here be a lot, but there it's normal price. So there are a few things you need to know when you go to Ireland. Well, that doesn't matter if you're female or you're male. It's left-sided traffic. So I almost got killed like 3 times because I looked on the right side and the bus was coming from the left side. But they have signs on the street to help you. That's how nice Irish people are. They have a strong accent. That's a real problem. A lot of them can speak proper English, but a lot of them also don't. So if you don't understand something, ask nicely if they can repeat it slowly. If not, just walk away. There's nothing else to do. And so in Ireland, and especially in Dublin, you can pay everywhere by card except the bus. And if you can't pay the bus in cash, you have to get off the bus. So that's the only thing. There's the only 3 things you have to get in mind when you're traveling to Dublin. That's it. Do you have any questions?